Hi, Rangers supporters. What a moment to be following this club as the season tightens and every single match feels like it carries the weight of the campaign on its shoulders. The latest victory over St. Mirren by 2 goals has shifted the mood around Ibrox, not because it guarantees anything, but because it reminds everyone that the gap at the top, now sitting at 6 points, is still something that can be chased down with belief, structure, and consistency. Nobody here is throwing around labels like favorites, but title contenders does not feel like a stretch when you watch the direction this team is moving. Each pass, each press, and each goal feels like part of something that is growing rather than something that is fading. While on the other side of the city, frustration is brewing, at Rangers there is a sense that progress is not just possible, it is visible. What stands out is the contrast in serenity and chaos between the two clubs. Rangers have gone through difficult spells before, but this current run feels like a group that is learning how to respond rather than crumble. When opponents come organized, compact, and disciplined, Rangers are beginning to answer with football rather than panic. It is not perfect yet, but it is sharper, and supporters can see that. Meanwhile, Celtic's recent struggles, marked by their 5th defeat since the arrival of their new manager, have ignited a reaction among their own support. The disappointment, the exasperation, the sense of a wall being hit, all of it tells a story of a side trying to play a certain way, but not yet built to handle the demands of that approach. A team that once forced others to react to them now seems to be reacting to its own uncertainty. When Rangers stepped onto the pitch against St. Mirren, there was a clarity about what needed to be done. They could not rely on luck or on excuses about scheduling or conditions. They had to win their duels, press with conviction, and make the big moments count. And that is exactly what happened. It was not a flawless performance, but it was a committed one. The kind where you can trace growth, not just in the result, but in the attitude behind it. Even when St. Mirren tried to disrupt the rhythm, Rangers did not break shape the way they might have earlier in the season. You could see players communicating, taking responsibility, moving the ball with purpose rather than panic. That alone shows evolution. Across the city, the tone is entirely different. Celtic supporters are describing their recent performance as something close to a breaking point, a night that felt like an emotional turning point. Some are calling it a watershed moment, a sign that something bigger than a single result is wrong. The complaints range from defensive disorganization to the inability to control basic passages of play. Supporters are asking how a team with such resources can look so vulnerable when pressed, why they look flustered under pressure, why simple passes feel like a task instead of a routine action. They point to missed structure, missed identity, and missed leadership on and off the pitch. When fans start speaking about struggling to watch matches, not because of loyalty, but because of growing disbelief, that says a lot about where a club stands mentally. Rangers fans, meanwhile, are not naive. They know one victory does not define a season. They know momentum is fragile. They know defending still needs to be tightened, that composure on the ball must continue to improve, that the next derby will ask harder questions than St. Mirren did. But the difference is that Rangers look like a team working towards answers, while Celtic look like a team drowning in their questions. Celtic supporters are questioning decision-making from the top, asking what direction the club is trying to take, even wondering if the person chosen to lead the project has the tools to make it work. The excuses of time, adaptation, and patience only stretch so far when the team is struggling to demonstrate progress on the park. It is not only the defeats that worry them, it is the manner of the defeats. They talk of misplaced passes, players losing their shape, the panic that sets in when an opponent presses with even moderate intensity. They mention attackers, isolated midfielders chasing shadows, and defenders who look uncertain about what system they are actually in. They speak about effort, or the lack of it, times when it looks like the opposition wants the ball more, fights harder for every second ball, and transitions with clarity, while Celtic scramble back in confusion. These are not the kind of problems that come from a single off night. These are the kind that come when foundations are not strong enough to hold pressure. Rangers, on the other hand, have started to lean into their strengths. Players who once looked hesitant now look decisive. The spacing between the lines is cleaner. The responsibility in possession is more balanced, and the press has purpose rather than chaos. Even the energy in the stands reflects that shift. Supporters see areas that need improvement, but they also see a pathway. They sense that with each passing match, this side becomes harder to break down and more confident in its identity. And now, the focus naturally builds toward the derby. It always does, no matter what form either side is in. That match carries something deeper. Celtic supporters are dreading it. Rangers supporters are anticipating it. That difference in emotion alone tells its own story. There is no guarantee about what will happen when the whistle blows, because derbies defy prediction, logic and form, but the momentum belongs to the team that looks like it knows who it is. Right now, that team is Rangers. Even if nobody is placing crowns on heads or parading confidence, there is belief, and that belief is earned, not imagined. Celtic supporters are not just frustrated with results, they are questioning the structure, the planning, and the leadership from the top. They ask who is responsible for appointing someone who has yet to prove that his style can translate. They wonder whether the board understands the scale of the challenge. They are wrestling with doubt, and doubt is the most dangerous opponent a club can face. It creeps in quietly, then spreads like a storm through every area of the pitch. Rangers know that feeling from past years, but they also know there is only one cure for it: improvement. Real improvement, not just a win here or there, but steady, visible progress. Rangers supporters can sense that something is shifting, not in a loud or triumphant way, but in the kind of steady confidence that comes from lessons learned the hard way. The squad has been forced to grow, to respond to setbacks, to adjust their approach when things were not clicking. That is what makes the recent wins feel different. They are not flashes in the pan or isolated moments of luck. They look like the product of training ground repetition, clearer instructions, and players understanding not only their own roles, but the responsibilities of those around them. When Rangers lose the ball now, there is structure behind the recovery. When they build play from the back, there is patience and an avoidance of rushed, long punts that gift the initiative back to the opponent. It is not perfect, but it is coherent, and coherence is the first sign of a side ready to fight for something real. A key difference is composure. Earlier in the season, even a bit of early pressure from the opposition could turn possession into panic. Lately, there is evidence that players are trusting their touch, trusting the next pass, and trusting the system. It shows in the way the midfield links with the front line, how defenders step into challenges with certainty rather than hesitation. You can tell when a squad begins to believe in what the manager is asking of them. It does not happen overnight, but it does become visible. Little shifts become habits. Habits become identity. And identity is what carries a side through difficult fixtures on cold nights away from home when the pitch is heavy. and the crowd is restless. Meanwhile, Celtic supporters are wrestling with the opposite sensation. They speak about matches feeling like ordeals, games that drag rather than ignite. The complaints about tempo, control, and decision-making are not just angry reactions, they are observations of a side that looks stuck in the space between idea and execution. You hear them describe passages of play where no one seems sure who should receive the ball next, where defenders hesitate instead of clearing with conviction, and where attackers look isolated rather than part of a coordinated pattern. It is not about lacking talent. It is about lacking direction. When fans begin to question whether the coaching staff genuinely believes in the structure being implemented, that is when pressure reaches a different level. Rangers know what that pressure feels like because they have lived it. They have played through seasons where frustration clung to every match, where the smallest mistake felt catastrophic, and where confidence drained out of the squad week by week. That is why the reaction now feels different. Instead of folding under expectation, Rangers are starting to push back. That gap of 6 points is not a guarantee of anything, but it is also not a wall. It is a challenge, and for the first time in a while, there is belief that the challenge can be met. The dressing room seems to understand that momentum is earned, not gifted, and that every match from here on out will be an examination of mentality as much as ability. On the Celtic side, supporters are calling certain performances the kind that force a club to look in the mirror. They talk about aimless possession, lack of defensive cohesion, and the constant sense that pressure from opponents causes structure to crumble. They are not just debating tactics, they are questioning leadership. A board can talk about patience all they like, but patience is not infinite. Supporters need to see growth, even if the results are not perfect. They need passages of play that look rehearsed rather than improvised, defensive sequences that show chemistry rather than confusion. Instead, they are seeing matches where teams with fewer resources and simpler styles are outplaying them by being organized and disciplined. That is the kind of thing that fuels unrest, not just disappointment. Rangers, in contrast, have begun to look like a group who understand exactly how valuable self-belief is. It is not arrogance, it is the confidence that comes from solving problems that once broke them. There have been matches this season where Rangers would have dropped points a year ago. Instead, they held their line, made the right choices, and turned narrow margins into victories. Those are the performances that build a title challenge, not the loud ones, but the quiet ones. The nights where the football is not glamorous, but the mentality is solid. The afternoons where the opponent offers nothing flashy but plenty of fight, and Rangers respond with control instead of chaos. Now the narrative turns toward the derby because it always does. That fixture is not just a match, it is a measure of direction. It tests everything: structure, identity, self-belief, emotional control. Rangers approach it with momentum, not in the form of swagger, but in the form of understanding. They know that a win would not end the race, but it would send a statement that cannot be ignored. Celtic approach it with tension, not panic yet, but the kind of unease that makes every mistake feel heavier. The supporters can feel it, the players can feel it, and there is no hiding place in that 90-minute storm. As the rivalry intensifies, every choice matters. Selections matter. Substitutions matter. The first 10 minutes, where derbies often set their tone, matter. Rangers have been learning to manage these fine margins. Celtic have been struggling to survive them. If Rangers can impose their structure early, if they can play with the same confidence shown in recent weeks, the pressure shifts entirely. That is what separates contenders from passengers, not the scorelines alone, but the mentality that shapes them. In football, seasons swing on moments. One interception, one finish, one lapse of concentration can alter the trajectory of an entire campaign. Rangers understand that now, and they are treating every fixture like an opportunity rather than an ordeal. Celtic are treating fixtures like examinations they fear failing. That contrast is the heartbeat of the rivalry at the moment. And if Rangers continue to build, if the performances continue to sharpen, if belief continues to grow in the way it has recently, then this season is far from decided. It is alive, and Rangers have given themselves a reason to chase what once felt distant. The next match, the next whistle, the next test awaits, and the supporters can feel the anticipation rising like electricity before a storm. Before we continue, make sure to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications to get all the exclusive news about Rangers FC. Don't overlook any details about your beloved team. It's crucial for Rangers FC fans. Rangers fans may have reason to stir with excitement as whispers emerge from Scottish football circles about a potential game-changer joining Ibrox. Sources close to the club hint that Lennon Miller, a young talent whose name has been turning heads across the UK, has reportedly put pen to paper with the Gers. While neither club nor player has confirmed the deal officially, insiders suggest that this move could signal Rangers' intent to inject fresh energy and creativity into their squad. Miller, widely regarded as one of the most promising prospects of his generation, has previously dazzled at youth level with his vision, pace, and technical skill. His arrival at Ibrox would be seen as a coup for the club, adding depth and versatility to an attacking line already brimming with potential. Supporters are already speculating about how the teenager's flair could fit under the current manager's tactical setup, with some suggesting he could be the spark to unlock opposition defenses in crucial fixtures. The buzz around Miller has been building steadily, particularly after standout performances that caught the attention of scouts from across the Scottish Premiership. If the rumours hold any truth, Rangers are likely positioning themselves ahead of rival clubs who have reportedly monitored the player for some time. There's a sense that this could be a long-term investment, a signal that the club is keen on nurturing talent from the grassroots while also staying competitive at the top of the table. Fans and pundits alike are already debating how Miller might influence Rangers' style of play. Some see him as a versatile forward who can adapt to multiple attacking roles, while others argue his creative instincts could redefine the team's approach in high-pressure games. The speculation alone has stirred a mix of anticipation and curiosity, with social media abuzz with theories about where he might be deployed and which established players could benefit most from his presence. While official confirmation remains elusive, the chatter surrounding Lennon Miller's potential signing has certainly reignited interest in Rangers' transfer strategy. Observers will be keen to see whether the club can integrate the young talent seamlessly and whether this rumored acquisition heralds a new chapter for Ibrox's attacking ambitions. For now, all that's certain is that the prospect of Miller donning the famous blue shirt has set the Scottish football community abuzz, and supporters are eagerly awaiting any hint of official news. Greetings, fans. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, as it's greatly appreciated by Rangers FC. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments section below. Until the next video, Stay tuned